I'm going in there, Hank.
Luis, you're not going anywhere, okay? Dr. Russell said she could get a lot further with Sheridan under hypnosis if they were alone.
Yeah, but what if it gets too heavy? Who's going to stop it from going too far?
Look, just stay out of this, okay? Dr. Russell's a pro. Sheridan's doing this voluntarily. They both know what they're doing. And if it helps end Sheridan's nightmares that she's been having since she was a little girl, won't that be worth it?
Yes.
Not to mention what it could do for you. If it turns out Sheridan's nightmares are connected to your father's disappearance, you could finally have the answers you've been hot for all these years.
It's just that one of Mama's expressions keeps going over and over in my head.
What's that?
Be careful what you wish for. What if it turns out that Sheridan and I do find out the truth and we wish we hadn't?
Besides, you may be worried about nothing, man. I mean, we have no idea what Sheridan will remember about that night, if anything. I mean, she was only a little girl at the time.
Yeah, but Sheridan's already said that she saw a shadow in the mansion when she went downstairs. Now, if that person turns out to be my father, then she could be the last person I saw before he disappeared, Hank.
You're never going to get over his leaving, are you?
Not till I know why he left. It's not like I haven't tried to forget it, Hank. It just won't go away.
Well, I know it was tough on you, having to take over all your family's responsibilities at that age.
It's more than that. For a long time, I always thought that he just walked out on us, and I was afraid I was going to turn out just like him.
You? Mr. Conscientious?
That's why I never married Beth right out of high school. I was afraid I was carrying some lousy gene that would just make me wake up someday and walk out on her and whatever kids we might have had.
Do you hear what you're telling me? You're telling me that your life would have been different if your father hadn't disappeared.
That's why it's so important for me to find out whether he left on his own, or he was forced, or even worse. And I'm afraid until I find out, I'm not going to ever have much of a life.
I really think there's a connection between Sheridan's nightmares and your father's last night in Harmony.
How could there not be? I heard my father talking to Alistair on the phone. I couldn't tell what they were talking about, but I could tell my father was upset. And then Sheridan says that she saw someone in the house that night. I mean, it's just too big of a coincidence.
Maybe. But maybe not. Are you saying that you think Sheridan had a hand in what happened to your father?
I don't know how she could have. She was just a little girl back then, but something happened to her that night that still tears her up inside. Look, Hank, she's the only person that can give me the answers I need. You think she's okay?
I'm sure Dr. Russell has everything under control.
Louise?
How is she?
Oh, she's fine. I just put her under. I only came out to get some water.
You mean you haven't started yet?
Well, I wanted to talk to her and make sure she knew what she was getting into. And she's very brave, very determined.
Yeah. She really wants to get to the root of her nightmares.
She's doing it for you too, Louise.
You think it'd be all right if I just looked in on her?
For a moment, but don't disturb her.
Right. Sheridan!
Luis, no. You told me Dr. Russell said not to go in there, all right? Listen, you gotta hang in there, buddy. I have a feeling this thing's gonna get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Tell me something, Luis. What are you gonna do if you find out Sheridan witnessed some kind of violence against your father?
Easy. I'm gonna track down the person responsible and make sure they suffer the same fate he did.